Drake versus iHeartRadio lawsuit. So Drake and iHeartRadio, you may or may not have seen, they just quietly settled their lawsuit out of court. No statements, no details. Well, it may have been one statement, but it was, very vague. Uh, but proof that the litigation is over. So what really went down behind the scenes? And with the UMG case still open, is this the beginning or is that going to wrap up soon? What do y'all think?
So I spoke to my sources at OVO and some lawyers, so I'm going to give some insight here. So what we'll do is first is talk about what everyone said when he filed these lawsuits, that these claims were baseless. There was no proof, and it was only to stop Kendrick from performing the song. I think we can end that narrative, okay? Clearly, there was some basis to his lawsuit and to his argument, and we know that because both sides said that they have settled this case in a way that was beneficial to both Drake and both to iHeartMedia. Okay, so there was a settlement that was reached. There has been no information disclosed other than that the settlement was mutually beneficial. So what we can say here is either one, maybe there was some monetary payment to Drake, or two, maybe there was some evidence that was disclosed by iHeart that Drake can then use in his case against UMG for defamation and UMG potentially suppressing or boosting either one of their tracks. So we know that that happened. The other thing we know is that this case is never going to be brought up again because the case was settled. I don't want to say with or without prejudice. I'm going to scroll through my notes in a minute when someone else talks, and I'll come back and clarify because I'm not a lawyer, and that's lawyer lingo. So I don't want to say that. But we do know that a settlement was reached. And based on that, we know that Drake has something, and Drake is also touting this as a win. When he returned back from Australia, he returned and he said, I need a max one, which is past tense to indicate that he won in this sense. So I don't think we're ever going to get the full details, but I think if things are exposed in the UMG court cases, then we'll maybe get a little bit more detail.
So here's my take on that. I think I agree with you. I'm gonna first say this: Drake is waving a white flag again, right? Like, let's be honest. Like, if he knew he had a solid case, he would have took it to trial. So he's definitely waving a white flag here. However, I do think that this is a situation where the UMG case plays a bigger part. I think the UMG case is a stronger case where he's like, hey, this iHeartRadio stuff, let me go ahead and just get it out the way, take whatever settlement. Like, this isn't what is most important. What is most important is that UMG case. And I think that has more ability to hurt or tarnish his career in different aspects than the iHeartRadio one. So he said, you know what, fuck it. iHeartRadio, cool.
So
Like, let's just make peace. So that's my take there. Like you said, I think he wants to focus on the UMG case, but he waved the white flag again. Typical Drake. Typical Drake.
Can one of you guys or one of you guys educate me on what is he suing iHeart for?
Now, the iHeart, I believe it was around boosting the promotion and the marketing of Not Like Us on their
Yep.
platforms, being able to find the song and things of that nature, the song being pushed in front of people that wasn't looking for it.
If he won, wouldn't
so
he win against UMG too? So I feel like he used iHeart because iHeart doesn't generate as much money. When you're dealing with like a big gorilla in the law sense, they can push your shit on for forever. Drake doesn't have more money than UMG. So I feel like he took on iHeart to set a precedent because that's how law works. If he
so
won against iHeart, then he probably will win against UMG because those things are kind of similar, right? I think he was suing UMG for boosting Not Like Us.
I
So
see
if he's
what you're
suing
saying.
iHeart for the same shit,
Hmm.
so
but I'm also
so
I don't know too much about the iHeart portion.
So, what it says is, iHeart alleging that iHeart had received illegal payments from UMG to boost radio airplay for Not Like Us. Now, my thing is, what I feel is that they settled out of court
so
because not solely because they were in the wrong for this Not Like Us thing, but I think for the grand scheme of things and things they've done for other songs and other artists, things they continue to do and want to do in the future, uh, in terms of payola and things of that nature, I think they settled just to nip the butt in even, having to go through bringing up anything that they're doing behind the scenes. So with that being said, I still think, UMG has a chance to, come out on top against Drake because, nothing was divulged that,
So
hurts or, diminishes their stance, I feel.
Yeah.
so
That's one question I have for the group, though. Do you think that UMG tapped iHeart and said, step out the way, in the same way that, like, a Fed may tap a state case and say, don't worry, we got this?
I think
So
these are two very separate entities, right? So iHeart controls the radio station. So like Power 105 is under iHeart. So they control that portion of the media. Now, iHeart, what he's alleging what happened with iHeart, like Z said, is that they were boosting, not like us.
I
And
believe
then
that.
he brought in UMG because he's saying that these claims they know are false, but they're still allowing the record to be played and to be boosted. Now, I don't think UMG has anything to do with iHeart here, where they would tell him step out of the way, because anything that Drake gets in this discovery or got in this settlement would only help his case against UMG. And I think all these things that we continue to see on the internet are only helping Drake's case because he's suing for defamation. He's suing UMG for defamation. So every time Drake does something and then there are social media rants or there are blogs or there's media trying to tie it into him being a PDF, that only helps his case because it's proving that his character was defamed due to this record, right? So I don't think this is him waving a white flag. When you go to court, no one wants to go to court and fight out a long legal battle. It costs you a bunch of money. It costs the company a bunch of money. So the best thing you can do is settle. You don't want to drag this out. And as an artist, you don't want this hanging over your head. He just released a collab album with Party. He knows he wants to release a solo album probably in the summertime or the fall. So you don't want to be in litigation. You want your album to be rolled out successfully. You want to have a lot of sales. You want to go back on tour. If you have a bunch of legal cases pending, the best thing you can do is settle, because I think what he wants to do is get them to admit that they're wrong, and then he has to get paid. I think the bag is the big deal in this situation because he's trying to re-up his contract. So if he can re-up a contract and get them to settle for a large amount, I think it's a win-win for him.
So where do you think this UMG case goes? They settle out of court?
I think that's the only way to do it. Wherever there's smoke, there's fire. Wherever there's fire, there's smoke. However the saying goes. We all know and we all witness these things in real time, right? We all know that radio stations probably take some sort of money. We all know that algorithms can be tricked. We all know that people can get paid to make things appear when they don't need to appear. So obviously, I think there's something to it. I don't think he would sue with no case. I think that would be just dumb. I don't think he's stupid. And I think definitely as a lawyer who's taking on the case, yes, you want to get paid, but you also don't want to lose, because what lawyer wants to lose? I don't think that they take on this case without knowing that there's some sort of gray area where they're going to be able to make a case and then make some money.